If you're new to lacrosse, you're probably a bit confused. Players running around, whacking each other with sticks, dodging, shooting, and scoring. It's a fast-paced game, but in this video, we're gonna slow things down so that even a beginner can understand how to play and watch lacrosse. Let's do it. The objective of lacrosse is for your team to score more goals than your opponent. Each team has 10 players on the field at all times. 1 goalie, 3 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 3 attack. The game starts with a face-off, where 2 men get down, wait for a whistle, and then fight for the ball. Once someone wins possession, they want to shoot the ball in the opposing team's goal. A lacrosse goal is 6 feet tall and 6 feet wide. It's defended by a goalie who stands in the crease. The crease is a circle that exists around the goal. Only the goalie's team can step into the crease. If the opposing team steps into the crease, it's called a crease violation and possession goes to the other team.
Somehow holds on, beats the crease, and Hickok! No goal, he was in!
But let's zoom out for a second and take a look at the whole lacrosse field. A lacrosse field is 110 yards long and 60 yards wide. The center line divides the field in half, where defenders have to stay on their half of the field and attackmen have to stay on their half of the field. If they cross over, they can be called for offsides. But midfielders can play on both sides of the field. One unique thing you might notice is that you can play behind the goal in lacrosse.
They're sneaking it past the goalie, which we just saw, or he's passing it right away, Joe.
Paul, that's the release you're talking about. Very deceptive for a goaltender, where he shoots around the defender, almost offbeat.
And that's what these elite attackmen are doing now.
Similar to hockey, except there's much more room. The area behind the goal is called X, and there's usually 1 offensive player there at all times. The center stripe is where the face-off begins, and the wing areas are where the midfielders must stand before the face-off whistle is blown. And then the restraining line is where the defenders and attackmen stand until someone gains possession after a face-off. Possession is achieved by scooping up the ball and holding it in your stick. From there, you can move the ball up the field in 2 ways. You can pass the ball to a teammate, or you can cradle the ball upfield yourself. Cradling is the act of rocking the ball back and forth in your stick. This helps keep the ball in your stick while you run and fight through checks. If you throw the ball out of bounds, this is a turnover and the other team gets possession. But if you shoot the ball and it goes out of bounds, the team closest to the ball at the point it goes out of bounds receives possession.
Feeding Gaudette inside, passes off the mark.
That's why you'll frequently see players running and diving out of bounds when the ball is going out. Now, the opposing team will try to strip the ball away from you by either intercepting passes, stick checking you, or body checking you. But there are strict rules around checking in lacrosse. First, let's list all of the legal checks you can make.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
You can swing your stick at another player's stick who's in possession of the ball. And as long as you intend to take the ball away from them, you can hit their hands, their forearms, and their elbows and arms along the way. You can poke check a player's gloves and stick. Any stick-on-stick contact is legal. And if you are within 5 yards of someone, you can body check them, as long as your hands are close together on the stick. Now, here are the checks that are not legal. A stick check to the head or helmet is a slashing penalty. Egregious swinging of the stick can be called a slashing penalty by the referee.
Oh, come on, guys.
For example, if you pull your stick back and swing it like a baseball bat at someone, you're gonna be called for a slashing penalty. Pushing a player from behind is a push from behind infraction. And a cross check is an illegal body check. Cross-checking is when your hands are separated on the shaft and you check someone with your shaft. This is illegal, but if you bring your hands together, then it's considered a legal check.
Anytime you hit a man, 2 hands on your stick, clean.
Helmet-to-helmet checks are also illegal. Now, when it comes to all of these checks, it is important to make sure that we are protected. So there are specific rules around equipment and protection in lacrosse. For field lacrosse, a player must wear a lacrosse helmet, mouthpiece, gloves, elbow pads, shoulder pads, cleats, and an athletic cup. Goalies must wear the same thing, but with an added throat protector. They also swap out shoulder pads for a chest protector for added chest protection, and they swap out gloves for goalie gloves, which have added thumb protection. And arm pads are optional for goalies too. Now, when it comes to lacrosse sticks, there are a few different types. First, there is a goalie stick, which has a wider head. That makes it easier to make saves. Then there are defensive long poles, where defensive players play with a 6-foot stick that makes it easier for them to throw checks and intercept passes. There's only 4 long poles allowed on the field per team at all times. And then everyone else plays with a short stick. A lacrosse stick is comprised of the shaft, the butt end, the head, and the pocket. There are several rules around the pocket, but the main one you need to be aware of as a beginner is that it cannot be too deep. When you place a lacrosse ball in the pocket and hold it up to eye level, the ball must be slightly visible over the side wall. Lacrosse games are divided up into 2 halves and 4 quarters. The length of each quarter varies depending on your level of play, whether it be youth, high school, college, or pros. But a lacrosse game cannot end in a tie. If it's a tie game at the end of regulation, then you go into overtime and you keep playing overtimes until someone scores a goal. But now that you guys know the basics of the game, it's time to get a better understanding of the positions. Because within attack, defense, and midfield, there are more specific roles, such as Fogo, LSM, and ex-attackman. So click this video right here to find out more about the lacrosse positions and find out what position best suits you. Wish I was a better speaker sometimes. I think that's it.